happening.
Thursday, April 25th.
April 25th. Is it in Vegas? I believe so.
I don't know. Is it?
I believe so.
Okay. Vegas. Perfect place to bet on the draft.
There it is.
So we're going to run through this quick for you.
Detroit. Not even close to
It's
Vegas.
in Detroit?
Yep, not even close.
Sports betting is legal there. Just saying.
Yeah.
We're going to run through the draft. What that looks like for you in your
favorite teams.
Headphones.
Yeah.
We're going to go division by division. And we're going to break it down by what picks they got, how many they have, what they stunk at last year, or their needs, and what they need to address in the draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, literally on my first screen. Where will the draft be held?
Come on, Chris.
So, we're going to jump right into it. We're starting with the Cowboys.
We're going, so East.
Starting with the NFC East. Cowboys haven't done a whole lot in the offseason so far.
Some would say they've done nothing. And they actually lost two of their offensive linemen. What's his name? The big guy who's been there, Tyson Smith.
Is TP not there either?
TP's not there. He's on the Titans.
Yeah. So they
have a lot of holes to fill.
Their first pick is the number 24 pick. They got 24, 56, 87, 174, 216. So they're kind of the first 3 rounds, it's kind of just like their normal picks. And then they go from 87 to 174. So there's a pretty big jump there. They got 7 picks overall. Right. What's their need?
So I think when you look at them, also no worries, they did sign another running back, Royce Freeman, this offseason.
Oh,
so
they're good then. They don't need a running back then, do they?
No, they definitely do. But I do think they have to go offensive line. I think losing Tyrone Smith was his name, and then Tyler Biasdale?
They both started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. So when you do that, and obviously, I mean, here's the reality. The crazy thing is you have a pretty good tight end. You have a pretty good, very good wide receiver. You got to protect Dak, especially with his injury issues.
Their defense pretty good.
Their defense is very good. You'll obviously have Diggs coming back after his ACL injury. So I definitely think you have to take this pick and go lineman. Because the reality is you also need a running back, but I don't know if you're getting a running back.
You
don't
want
a great caliber in the first round.
It's not going to be first round. Will they spend one of their second, third, fourth picks on a running back? Maybe.
Potentially.
That's probably more likely.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, they have probably they got 2 to 3 running backs still on the roster, so it's not really need. So linemen definitely where they want to go.
And even with a good running back in Tony Pollard last year, I mean, they just wanted to throw the ball. So.
Yep. Eagles, first pick is the 22nd pick. So they got 22, 50, 53, 120, 161. They got 8 total.
Yeah. I mean, I think they got to go the same way. I think
they're kind of built similarly. They got 3 towards the top, and then big jump into the 4th and the 5th.
Yeah, and obviously losing Jason Kelsey is a big time loss on the lineman. So I think you also still have to go back to lineman, whichever way you want to go, tackle, guard, whichever way. I mean, you just got Saquon. Your offense is good, but you need to protect Jalen Hurts, who last year looked like his knee or whatever.
And their offensive line is getting very old.
Oh yeah, Lane Johnson's old. Doesn't seem like he can play a whole season without getting hurt. So you do have to kind of shorten it up and kind of get younger on the line. So I think both 2 picks out of that conference, Cowboys and Eagles, start with linemen.
Okay. Giants.
Now this is where it changes.
They got number 6. What are they going to do with that? They also have 47, 70, 107, 166. So they got 3 picks in the top 70.
Yeah.
Highlighted by that number 6 pick. But they only have 6 total. So they only have the 6, 47, 70, 107, 166. They only got 1 more after that.
Yeah.
So they don't have a ton of picks, but they do have that number 6.
Yeah. And I think the number 6, I think you just have to use. I mean, here's the reality. I don't think at number 6 you're going to get the quarterback you want. I think you're going to have to fill up in the top 4. So if you don't get the quarterback you want, I don't think there's any reason to not go and try to get one of these elite wide receivers. So you probably have potentially Malik Neighbors. You potentially have who's the guy? Romeo Duzier?
Rome Odunze.
Rome Odunze, elite. So you have to kind of work with that. I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer, but I also don't think at that pick you're getting.
The hard part about them is their team is so bad. They have so many holes, but yet, like, this is probably one of the best opportunities for them to get a quarterback potentially.
Yeah.
Because they're towards the top, right? I mean, it's probably likely that next year they're probably going to be towards the top again. But you never really know. And so it's hard because it's like, okay, yes, they have 3 in the top 70, but they only have 6 total, and they have so many holes. Like, if they weren't so interested in a quarterback or like potentially getting a quarterback, then they should definitely think about trading back and getting more picks.
Yeah, trading back, getting more picks, and kind of filling it up. I think there's a lot of good players. I think if you were to stay there at number 6, you could get an elite wide receiver to kind of add on. You have some, I mean, Jalen Hyatt's a young guy. They don't, I mean, not Evan Ingram, what's his name? Darren Waller. So, but the hard part is too, like you said, their running back system is, they don't have Saquon anymore. Their defense is not terrible, but I also think at the same time, like, I think you kind of got to get some weapons and then potentially pick up a different quarterback.
Got to get.
Crazy thing is they gave Daniel Jones so much money.
They did,
but he's so bad.
Not working out.
So
Commanders, they got the 2 pick.
You got to go QB,
Top
right?
pick.
Yeah, QB.
And then they got 36, 40, 67, 78. So, I mean, they're loaded. They got 5, their top 5 picks are all in the top 80.
Yeah.
They got 9 overall. So, like, I mean, they're kind of the same situation. They have a lot of holes to fill, but they got the picks to do it, whereas the Giants don't.
No, the Giants don't. They really only have that first one. But I think when you're the Commanders, take your franchise quarterback.
Yep.
Let him develop. This year will obviously.
You think it's Jaden Daniels?
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go Jaden Daniels. I mean, I would just athleticism. We talked. It's the word of the day. Athleticism.
It is.
But he's a lot more athletic. Drake May is a good quarterback, but it just depends who you can build around. You have Terry McLaurin, who's a good wide receiver.
Austin Eckler now. So you have these other positions, but I think you need to get your future quarterback. I think Sam Howell was decent. He wasn't great, but he's never going to go out and really win you a lot of games. Right.
He's a good backup. Potentially gets traded. So
they haven't gotten rid of him yet?
I think he's still on this team.
I thought they got rid of him.
Oh, really?
I thought
Is he a free agent?
I want to say that they got rid of him.
Sam Howell? Well, I think they for sure. Seattle Seahawks, you're right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, here's the reality. They're for sure picking a quarterback. Now it just becomes...
Which one?
Which guy.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Moving on, NFC North. The Bears, number 1 overall pick. They only have 4 picks total, and 2 are in the top 10.
Yeah, they got good ones, though.
1, 9, 75, 122.
Yep.
So...
I mean, the 1 is solidified.
The 1 is solidified. Quick 10-second thoughts on the Caleb Williams interview that just came out with what's the guy's name?
Ryan Clark.
Oh, Ryan Clark. Yeah,
That who it was? Those guys?
It was Ryan Clark. Yeah.
I mean, I only saw clips of it. What did he say? Did he say something dumb?
He said
he was pissed that he didn't start right away.
The last time that he had to pivot when things didn't go his way was when he didn't start at Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And the way that Ryan Clark broke it down was literally perfect. It was like, wait a minute. You literally went to a school that had a first-round quarterback then very next year, and that was the time that you had to pivot. It was literally laid out as that is the situation that you were walking into.
Yeah.
It's like, this is making you look so stupid.
Yeah. I think here's the reality, and I think Caleb Williams obviously has been the number 1 pick for a long time.
Probably, I think 2 years?
2 years. The reality though is him and his dad, he's like playing himself away from teams wanting him.
I mean, it didn't make me want him more.
Didn't make him want you, like these stuff he's saying, his dad being like, I'm going to be his agent and my son needs like equity in the team. He needs all this stuff. It's like, dude, just go out and play. And the crazy thing about the Bears, offensively, they're finally giving, like last year was kind of a glimpse, like DJ Moore was very good for Justin Fields. But now it's like, okay, now you get Keenan Allen, you get DJ Moore, you're taking Caleb Williams.
Who's their running back?
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
So your offense, you weren't giving Justin Fields necessarily a bunch of weapons.
Right.
And Cole Kmet's not bad.
You're giving Caleb Williams weapons. He better not suck it up.
Yeah, and potentially they could go weapon and then another wide receiver weapon.
No, they can't do that.
What do you mean?
They got more needs.
Their defense. I mean, I think the hardest part is your defense stinks, but I think they're
why.
going. The reality is this: is you give your guy Keenan Allen's tough because you hope he plays the whole year. DJ Moore was elite last year, top 10. Keenan Allen was probably also top 10. But I'm just saying, it's just one of those things. I think you either could potentially also bolster your offensive line, or just go defensively. But I think, here's the reality: if you're best available, you have one of these elite wide receivers sitting at that spot. Screw it. Screw it. If you put up 40 points.
Get all the skill guys.
Caleb Williams is used to playing at USC where no defense is played anyways.
That's true.
So,
all right, Lions. They got the 29 pick.
Yeah.
61, 73, 164, 201 are their top 5 picks. They got 7 total.
Yeah, I don't really know where the Lions have to improve.
Apparently they might trade up.
Trade up to get another weapon, defensive guy.
What did he say?
Their defense last year was solid.
I think it's line.
Line?
Yeah, D line.
Yeah. I think you probably just have to go defensively. Offensively, you have a young offensive line who's a bunch of grinders. Offensively, you have multiple weapons.
You don't even have to think about skills positions.
No, skill positions. So I think when you look at the Lions, defensively, just keep bolstering your defense. And kind of go. If you can put up a guy, if you can trade up and get a guy that goes next to Aiden Hutchinson, who's a star, that's very good. He's a star.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will say this: the Lions probably are one of the best drafting teams.
They have been lately.
Yeah, they just hit.
They have been lately. So
yeah,
they're doing a good job. Packers, they got a lot of picks. They got 11. That's the most of the teams that we've gone through so far. 25, 41, 58, 88, 91. They got 5 picks in the top 91 picks. Starting with number 25.
25, yeah. I think at 25, I think you probably go a solid defensive player. Potentially another cornerback to go on the other side of, what's the guy's name who talks weird? Jair Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of just pair those two up and you have 2 elite, probably cornerbacks. But I also think you kind of have to go line. Like Bakhtiari is gone. And so you got to protect Jordan Love.
Their offense is very young.
Very young.
So it gives them some flexibility there.
Yeah. I think defensively you still just go defensive and you put somebody, 2 shutdown corners.
Yeah, they got to go.
As much as you hate Jair Alexander, I'll give him credit. He's elite.
He is a good player.
Yeah. So I think in that case, probably go defensively like that.
At some spot on defense.
Yeah. Potentially cornerback, depending on who's there, but yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind, all of these thoughts are based off of who's available at that pick, right?
100%. And
like,
that's
obviously
no trades and whatever.
If there's no linebacker available at that point, or a decent one when they come up to pick, then they're obviously not going to pick a linebacker.
Right.
100%. So keep that in mind as we're going through these teams. Next one, Vikes. 2 first rounders, 11 and 23, and then a big jump, 108, 129, 157. We got 9 total picks, but there's a pretty big gap between 23 and then 108. So what is that? That's 2 first rounders, and then we don't have another one until the middle of the 3rd round. Towards the end of the 4th,
right?
Is it 100? The end of the 3rd round?
100? Is it in the hundreds?
Yeah, it's 108.
Yeah, I think that's the 4th round.
But 4th round. So we got 2 first rounders and then 2 4th rounders.
Yeah, I think this is when it comes into it, the biggest question marks are: hey, are we going to trade up and get the quarterback?
Are we going to trade up?
That's what everyone wants.
And where are we going to be able to trade up?
Right. I think that's where it comes into play, and I think, depending also on what people are asking for,
yes,
it's a huge factor and it's a huge ask. But I think also because you can get a very good player at 21, but when you start, if you have to give something, here's the reality.
23.
Yeah, 23.
Or 11.
Here's the reality is if you're giving up your 11th and 23rd for a top 4 pick and you get your quarterback that you really like, it's worth it.
It's going to be more than just those 2.
And then I'm saying, if you just throw away, I think the 100 picks are. So you give them a 5th rounder. Yeah. I feel like you can throw a 5th or 4th rounder.
5th round. If that's going to be the difference between getting a guy that you like in the 1st round to play quarterback for the foreseeable future of your team,
right?
completely worth it.
Right, because you offensively, the only other thing you really need is probably more linemen. But I also think the difference
We
is
always need linemen.
100%. And I think the difference is when you kind of look at us too, like our defense is just getting older and also just getting to a point where it's like, all right.
But we added a number of free agent
Good players, yeah.
defensive players.
Yeah. It will always come down to line. I just think we also need to start hitting on these guys, like our defensive guys. I feel like sometimes we draft these guys pretty high and they just don't. They're nothing.
But the name of the draft for the Vikes is which quarterback are they going to get?
And which quarterback and what do they need to give up? So yeah, hopefully they get him. We need it.
All I'm saying is, if you're a Vikings fan, be ready to tune in early on Thursday.
Tune in and get going.
That's right.
So
the other thing that maybe some people are keeping an eye out for is the impending conclusion of the
Kirk Cousins
Falcons tampering with Kirk Cousins.
So like
before they were allowed.
So does that, like, we've talked about this sometimes too, like, is what happens, is it just they get fined? Or they might lose a draft pick?
It's a to be determined. They might. I mean, they're talking about potentially the eighth pick, which is the Falcons' first pick.
Wow.
Which would change things.
100%.
Obviously.
Wait, so who gets it? Does everyone just move up?
I don't know.
Or is there only 31 picks then?
I don't know what happens. Maybe the Vikes get it.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how
that's what I don't know what would happen.
I don't either.
But wouldn't that be cool? We just get it.
Well, yeah, of course that'd be cool. But I think the reality is
then we could probably get up to 3.
I mean, we should be able to get up to 2 with that.
It's true. But the problem is 1 and 2. They've already said we're staying there.
Yeah. So I think the difference is when you look at the Falcons, it probably has to come defensively. You were a good run-stopping defensive team, but you can either bolster the defense. You obviously got your quarterback. You got your guy, your running back. You have pretty good wide receivers. Tight end should finally produce something.
Yep.
So I think it's either defensive or you got to go offensive line and protect Kirk Cousins because now you have a very immobile, unathletic quarterback.
I think you got to go D.
Yeah, you got to bolster your defense because your offense.
In theory, they should be able to score points.
100%. I mean, they should be fine. They should actually be decent. I mean, when you look at their offense.
And who they're playing in the division.
Yeah, the division's ass.
So second team in that division, Panthers. They obviously do not have the number 1 pick because they traded it last year. But they have 33, 39, 65, 101, 141. They still have 7 picks. But they don't have a number 1.
They don't have first round.
Pick.
Yeah. I mean, I think the hardest part for the Panthers is, I think now when you look at it in the grand scheme, like the trade is awful.
No sense.
Yeah, no sense. And I think
that's all you got to know that the Panthers aren't a serious NFL franchise.
No, and I think the Panthers haven't been for a while, and I'm actually very happy that McCaffrey got gone and DJ Moore. It showed what they could do. They were both top in their position players. So I think if you're the Panthers, it doesn't matter what position besides quarterback, you have a plethora.
We were talking about spots that needed to fill for the Giants and the Commanders. You could probably double that, and it still wouldn't be enough for the Panthers.
The only position the Panthers don't need to cover is quarterback.
And that's only because they used the first round pick last year. It's not necessarily, it remains to be seen, but it's not because he just dominated.
No. You've used too much already. So
right.
There you are.
Yeah, man. Literally name a position other than quarterback, and they probably have a need for it.
Yeah, but the problem is they don't even have a first round pick, too.
That's true. It's going to make it a little harder. Yeah. Saints. They do have a first rounder, pick 14. Then they go 45, 150, 168, 170. They got 9 total picks.
Yeah, I think if you're the Saints, you got to bolster that offensive line again, especially get a good guy early at, 14?
14,
you got to bolster. Your defense has been usually solid. You have good weapons, wide receiver. Obviously, you have a quarterback. You have good running back. So I think you have to go probably guard, tackle, get somebody big, get a big boy up there to protect for Alvin Kamara and protect for Derek Carr. So I think your defense is fine. But that whole division is just kind of a crapshoot in my eyes.
Yeah, they're all very...
Falcons should take care of that division, but...
They're all very much like...
one game.
Mediocre teams not great, but not terrible, and most of them usually undershoot what they should be able to do based off of the team that they have.
Yep, 100%.
So then it's just muck it up all in the middle, and they're all between one game, between being first in the division and last in the division almost every year.
Yeah, the only team that's not is the Panthers, so it's really a three-headed race. But
that's true. It's crazy.
So
the last team that's in that division, Bucks, they do have a first-round pick as well. 26, 57, 89, 92, 125. They got 7 overall. 7 total picks.
Pretty sure the Bucks lost Carlton Davis. I believe he's gone.
Okay.
So now you got to bolster that defense. Obviously, Antoine Winfield's good, and your defense is getting older with all that. So I think you have to go defensively if you can get.
They got Baker back. They got Mike Evans back, so that's big.
Yeah, they got those 2 guys back. They have who's their
Didn't they sign another defensive guy?
The Bucks?
Like re-sign him? Didn't they bring
Carlton? No, the guy in the middle, the linebacker, wasn't it?
Devin Bush or something?
Was it Bush or was it the other guy? I can't remember, but I don't think they got rid of much.
Got released.
Shaq Barrett.
Yeah.
Oh, so then it was the other guy probably. But their running back's solid. Their offense is solid. I think the difference is if you can get Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama as a cornerback,
that could be decent.
Could be decent. You got to bolster the back end of your defense, especially losing.
They're mid-20s. Is he projected mid-20s? I remember when he was potentially the first
26.
corner.
26.
Okay.
That's what it says. Potentially. There's one. I mean, everyone's saying differently, but you got to go defensively for them.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
all right, moving on. Last division in the NFC. You got the NFC West. Cardinals. They're at the 4, up high. They also have 2 first-round picks, 4 and 27. Then they go 35, 66, 71. So they got 5 picks in the top 71. They got 11 total picks.
Yeah, should help out a lot. Obviously, Kyler Murray will be back. So that 4th pick, you're either going to get some value if somebody wants to trade up.
Yeah, potentially the first pick that's not a quarterback.
Yeah, I think you will, and I think you have to go wide receiver then.
I think you can literally get the best player that's not a quarterback then.
Right, because the first 3 are guaranteed that. So I think for them, you have to go with the wide receiver, whether that's Harrison, whether that's whoever you want.
I mean, if you're going wide receiver, you got to go Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. or this Malik Neighbors has been compared to him too. But I agree. I think you can't pass up Marvin Harrison. I mean, he's one of those guys that's like he's been talked about so long, and it's like I think he'll live up to the hype.
He has the family connection. Like his dad was a big time NFL receiver, so like it's not something new.
Yeah, 100%. And then I think with that second pick, what was it, 27?
Yep, 27. Yeah. And then they go that 35 too. So they got 3 in the top 35 picks.
27. Yeah, I think if they keep it, they got to probably bolster the defensive line. Probably, I mean, your defense was
that's going to be
awful.
Probably best defensive player available.
Yeah, best defensive player available, whichever position, potentially line, potentially not, but
secondary, line, it doesn't matter.
I mean, here's the reality.
Take the best defensive player there and
be happy.
You're probably going to be good.
Yeah, good. And then in your second round or third round picks, you can start doing
another defensive player.
Defensive player or even an offensive lineman to help Kyler. So that's how it rolls. What the hell is going on?
I think it's a medical emergency.
Did you get run into?
Oh, Wagner. What a guy. All right, we're moving on. Rams, 19. I got distracted. Their first pick is number 19. 52, 83, 99, 154. It's weird. Well, they have 11 total picks. It's weird. I feel like they haven't had a first-round pick in a long time.
No.
Because they just traded all
Matthew Stafford trade and
yeah. So now it's like, all right, they're in the first round. What do they need?
Yeah, I think they have to go probably offensive line. If they can go defensive end, I mean, you lost Aaron Donald, retired. So you're going to have to fill that void.
Yeah.
But I think offensively, you've got to try to protect Matthew Stafford as much as possible. You have Kyron Williams, very good running back. You have Cooper Kupp, elite. Well, when healthy, elite. But then you have Puka Nacua, very good. And Matthew Stafford looked very good last year.
Their offense is probably pretty set.
Pretty set, so you probably would go defensive end to just kind of replace what you're missing with Aaron Donald, which is very tough to replace.
Yeah, it got to be all defense.
So
got to be pretty much all defense. 49ers, 31, 63, 94, 124, 132. It feels like they just have all of their own picks.
Yeah.
It's about every 30 picks.
Oh my God, the stretcher.
10 picks.
Yeah. I think with the 49ers, you got to kind of continue to go defensively because
they're keeping them off it, though.
it costs too much money. Sit in front row, though. I think you got to go defensively. I think with Chase Young gone and then obviously other guys leaving or coming back from injuries, your
and
defense
their offense literally just so good anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you get Brock Purdy, who is very good. You get obviously the best running back in the league. If they can re-sign Ayuk, you have a very elite. I mean, you have the same offense basically.
Is he a restricted free agent?
I don't think he's a restricted
unrestricted free agent.
I think he's unrestricted.
Okay.
So, I think when it comes down to it, I think when you look at it, San Francisco's. I feel like is always defensively they're so good, and they just stop teams. So it's like bolster your defense, see what you need to do, and then kind of go from there. So my pick is defensively because now Chase Young is gone. Obviously, Bosa's still there. Fred Warner, best.
But the nice part about that, I mean, they're one of the best teams in the league for a reason. But the nice part is they have very strong players kind of spread out around the defense. So it's not like they have just this massive gaping hole on the defensive line. It's like, all right, let's just grab one guy in this spot, one guy in this spot, and we can fit them in along with all the other really good players that we already have.
Right. 100%.
So they're obviously set up for another successful season.
Yeah.
Seahawks, last team in that division, they got 16, 81, 102, 118, 179. They got 7 picks total. Pretty big jump after that first pick.
Yeah. That first pick, I mean, kind of got to go with a big one, but I think still offensively, you're fine if you're Seattle. And then so you kind of have to just bolster the defense. Probably defensive line guy.
Their offense is pretty much
the same.
What they had before, right?
Right. It's the same thing. Geno Smith is going to be Geno Smith. You got 2 good wide receivers.
They got Sam Howell, though.
As a backup.
Or if they got to play him.
Yeah, or start potential starter.
You could be in a worse position than starting Sam Howell.
100%. 100%.
Because at least in Seattle, they have better skill players.
100%.
So
1,000%.
You got to go trenches.
Yeah, you got to go, trenches, or I think you go defensively. I mean, getting a defensive superstar.
Offense or defensive line. That's what I'm saying.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. All right, AFC. Moving on. Bills.
Oh.
28, 60, 128, 133, 144. They got 10 picks overall, and they're going to need all of them because they have no skill players.
Yeah, you have one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the league, arguably.
Yep.
James Cook, solid running back. Defensively, you're not bad, but I mean, you have to somehow replace Stephon Diggs.
Unfortunately, you have to throw to somebody.
Yeah, and so I think wide receiver is probably their best bet.
Gotta be.
I mean, you have 2 tight ends who are very good, but you don't have that wide receiver who's a star.
Yep.
You mean Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir?
The nice part is, other than like the top 3-ish receivers that would go like towards the top of the draft, then there's a pretty big gap there where 100%. In theory there won't be any receivers, so that can sometimes push them into the 20s, which I mean the Bills are picking 28, so that's pretty much the very end of the first round.
100%. I think if they can get the quick kid from who's
Texas,
Mitchell.
Yep.
I think you could be very good set with him. I think he's a good. I mean, here's the reality: you're not going to replace Stephon Diggs.
No.
So you might as well bolster it in some way. So, and I don't think you need to trade up to get. You're not going to trade up to get one of those guys.
No.
So you might as well take what you can get, and I think he would be a solid player.
See, I don't know. It's hard to envision a speed guy in Buffalo just because of the cold conditions. It's hard to envision that.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, I don't know. I mean, the thing about it is that they showed. The weirdest part about him is at the beginning of the year, they let Josh Allen just swing it and do whatever, and then once it got cold, they were like, "We're just going to run it 40 times a game."
Yeah.
And it worked. So
for this first,
this will be an interesting year to see how Josh Allen does though without a all-star wide receiver.
Well, maybe he'll have one
potentially.
Dolphins
gonna have to step up.
Dolphins got number 21 pick. Then they got 55, 158, 198. They got 6 picks overall.
Yeah, I think you have to go defensively for the Dolphins.
Oh yeah,
Your offense is too good, and now defensively you have to get stuff. So you have to get stacked.
And we got one of their best players.
Right.
The Vikes.
So I think defensively, that's the way to do it. Offensively, you're going to live and die the same way. So see what happens. Potentially, maybe even draft a defensive guy from a college that was in a cold state, so you're not completely shell shocked when you play a cold game.
When you go to Buffalo, or
Kansas City,
the Jets should be decent this year too. So
yeah,
that's a lot of cold. Patriots. Their whole division is up there,
right? Except for them.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yep.
Patriots. They got the 3 pick.
Gotta go quarterback.
What are they gonna do with
quarterback?
Don't know. 34, 68, 103, 137, 8 picks total. Are they going to trade that pick? Maybe.
That's the question, but I think if you're the Patriots, I think at this position, if you can't get a lot for that pick, you're drafting a quarterback.
You think?
Best quarterback available.
Yeah, probably.
That's Drake May. If it's Jaden Daniels, it's Jaden Daniels. Some people say J.J. McCarthy, but I think that's a little stretch. I think the other
That'd be bold.
Yeah, I think the other 3 are locked in there. So unless you can get something, or unless you have a different plan on the back end, because I believe Mac Jones is gone.
I feel, he's in the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So now
I feel like
Bailey Zappi ain't gonna do it.
I feel like they have to find a quarterback somewhere.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the most important things, especially in the first round, this is also applies to fantasy drafts as well. And it's like, all right, once you make your selection and you choose whoever you're gonna pick, the general consensus should not be, oh my gosh, what were they thinking?
Right.
Why did they end up with that person? Yeah. And I feel like if they choose J.J. McCarthy in the 3 spot, that would be the reaction.
100%. I think the difference is when you're in that top 4 to 5, you've had long enough to think about this. You know you're probably not going to trade it unless you see some kind of value, especially when you have such a big need like they do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also, like you said, I think it's one of those things like, unless you see something in J.J. McCarthy or you see something in one of those other guys that you're like, this is a huge red flag. Okay, sure. But at the same time, don't
go too far away from what.
Just pick the best player available and let him go.
Exactly.
So,
Jets, they got the 10 pick.
Yeah.
72, 111, 134, 185, 7 picks.
Yeah. I think Jets, if ideally, their defense is one of the best, or was one of the best in the league.
They were, yep.
You have, Aaron Rodgers hypothetically coming back and being healthy.
He should be.
So I think if you can get, and I think he'll be available at 10, Brock Bowers from Georgia. Solidify your tight end spot. Solidify that.
Provide another weapon for him.
Another weapon, a big guy. He's a great blocking tight end also for Breece Hall. Your offense is there. You don't need defensively. Your defense is good.
No, you do not. It's got to be filling a spot on the offensive side.
Yep, and let Aaron Rodgers work.
Okay. Ravens, 30, pick 30, 62, 93, 113, 130.
Yeah.
9 picks. They're somewhat similar to the 49ers, where it's pretty much every 30 picks.
Every 30 picks,
Sounds
I think,
like
for them.
It's just theirs.
Yeah, just for them. I think for them, you have to probably bolster your offensive line and protect Lamar.
Seems like that's a
key
common thread with a lot of teams. They got to bolster their offensive line,
especially late in the draft, I think, or even the middle part. Once you can't get that elite wide receiver / don't need,
or corner or quarterback, after that it's like, all right, line.
Yeah, because when you look at it, it's like every year you need more linemen. That's the first position that always is like
injury. Then it's like, all right, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel in week 5. With our 7th offensive line.
Yeah.
Why didn't we get more?
Or it's like
don't know.
Yeah, one guy gets hurt in the offensive line, and it's like the whole world ends because you didn't prepare for anything.
And the rest of the team stinks.
Right.
Yeah. Every year, count on it. At least one team.
Yeah, get them a good lineman, let them work. Young talent. So.
Mm-hmm. Bengals are next. 18, 49, 80, 97. 115. They got 10 picks. They got quite a bit.
Yeah, they kind of got a few holes. I think that's kind of usually interesting to say, especially with the Bengals. But you look, Joe Mixon gone. T. Higgins, I think, is potentially gone. Going to be gone.
He doesn't want to be there.
Doesn't want to be there. You got. Defensively, they weren't very good last year, anyways. So I think it'll be very interesting to see which way they go. I think you could probably pick another guy to go on the opposite side of Jamar Chase if you can get somebody. But I think here's also the thing. I think you can also at 18, defense. I think it's defensive line.
Yeah,
but your offensive line has also been asked too.
That's still trenches.
Trenches. I think the difference is your offensive line has also been asked, so you can't really go bad. But you got to pick someone to protect either Joe Burrow or pass rush.
Yes, I feel like Joe Burrow is just
most sacked quarterback like the last 4 years.
Life every single play.
Yeah, and you can't really run.
Not as well. Maybe at the beginning of the year, but by week 3, not looking good.
Right.
Browns, their draft is going to be very. If you're a Browns fan, I'm sorry, your draft is not going to be exciting. They don't pick until pick 54. 54, 85, 156, 206, 227. They have 6 picks total.
Yeah, to be honest, I couldn't even tell you what the Browns need. Defensively, the Browns are very good.
They are good.
So I would have to imagine it's got to be offensive.
Nick Chubb is coming back?
Oh, I don't know, man. That's scary. But here's the thing is, you potentially at that pick could try to find a running back. I don't know when. I mean, there's probably 1 or 2 running backs, but I don't know. I think Nick Chubb is one of those guys who's a great player, but it just scares you every time he gets tackled. It's like, screw, shit, this guy could get hurt for a long period of time.
That's right.
And Deshaun Watson should be back. I mean, you're paying him enough
better.
money. He should be playing.
Mm-hmm.
So
they got Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy came over. They have weapons. Yeah. Amari Cooper.
So they got to go defense.
100%. 100%. No, or off. Well,
their defense is good, but
yeah,
I feel like they don't need receivers.
You don't really have any needs.
They don't really need running back.
Right, so. Yeah.
Steelers, 20, 51, 84, 98, 119.
Yeah, Steelers obviously have their quarterback. Quarterback competition.
2. I don't think it's competition.
Who do you think is going to take it? Russ? To start? I think it'll be a short string.
I don't.
I think it will be. I think
Russ is going to start for at least. As long as he stays healthy, I think he'll start at least 14 games.
Whoa! Oh, I'd take the under on that. I'd take the under. Just because
what's the highest number that you would...
I would say for Russ, the highest number is 9 to 10, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think here's the difference. I think if the Steelers start to struggle...
think he's not going to play well?
I don't think he's going to play well at all. I think Russ is kind of washed. And I like Justin Fields. But also the hard part is this, I could see him playing a decent majority, or like probably 12 to 13 potentially, because all the Steelers like to do is run the ball. So yes, they could do that. But at some point, I mean, this pick is probably going to be an offensive lineman. We've said it enough. They need to protect Russ, and they just got Russ or Justin Fields. You have good wide receivers. You need to play Jalen Warren more because he's actually athletic.
And when you have a mobile quarterback, it puts more pressure on the line.
Right. Who? Okay. Well, I think we were both just starstruck. So yeah, I think offensive line, here you go. I mean, I think this is probably has to be one of the last, I don't want to say last straws for Russ, but if you don't play well here, I don't know, man. I don't know if any team's going to really come back for you.
Nope, probably not. But this is the 1 year that he needs.
And he's not, isn't his contract like nothing?
Well, he's making the same amount, but the Steelers don't have to pay that amount. It's right. The Broncos are paying a big chunk of it, and the Steelers are paying, it's like, I don't know, 1 to 2 million.
I thought it was 1 million.
I think it's maybe 1.5 right down the middle.
Yeah.
But the Broncos are paying the rest, so he's still making the same amount of money. It's just like dead money. Yeah. From the Broncos.
They also offensively could go wide receiver.
They could for sure.
George Pickens is good. Where's Deontay Jackson? No,
he's not there anymore.
Yeah, where did he go?
He got traded.
Yeah, who took who? Who was it? Was it Jacksonville? Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. See ya.
Oh, give Bryce
career. Down in the dumps.
Yeah, poor guy.
All right, Texans. AFC South 42, 59, 86, 123, 127. They still have 9 picks overall, but none in the first round.
Yeah, and I'll say this:
but
Texans,
their offense looks freaking great.
Their offense looks freaking great. Their defense is, looks good. They are the team who did a lot this offseason, and I'm proud of them. They were always the laughing stock of the NFL. 100%. And they went out there and they spent the money they had to spend. And so, I'm happy for them. I'm proud. Here's the thing is now they're CJ Stroud is elite.
Yeah.
So
and now he has elite options.
Yeah, 100%.
Not that last year he didn't, but now it's like a no-brainer. He has elite options on offense to get the ball to.
Yeah. You could probably, if you're them, you probably will try to replace like Blake Cashman.
Yeah, they need
defensive guys, linebackers who are going to play and tackle and stuff like that. So, yeah,
Colts.
I think Colts.
15, 46, 82, 117, 151.
Colts.
They'll be getting Anthony Richardson back.
Yeah.
So don't need to do a quarterback.
Jonathan Taylor.
Don't need to do a running back.
Michael Pittman. They're good offensively.
They could probably use another wide receiver.
Probably use another wide receiver.
Maybe not the first pick.
I don't think at 15 you're going to get one of those elite ones, so I think it drops off. So I think you probably go defensive line. Who was the guy last year that never played? Shaq Leonard? Did he ever play?
Shaq Leonard.
Was that his name? Shaquille Leonard? He may have changed his name to something. But I think you go defensive.
He could change his name, but I don't think that he's I think he has a injury that's just constantly
he can't even play,
hurting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think defensively you probably got to go either lineman or on the line, or you got to go cornerback, safety, and kind of secure that position if you're not going to get one of the elite wide receivers to put across. Here's the thing. Last year,
they had Josh Downs too.
Josh Downs was good, and Michael Pierce.
I can't.
Alec Pierce. He was fine.
He's not very good.
He's fine as a 3.
You know how people say NBA guys are cardio guys? Alec Pierce is a cardio guy.
No, Alec Pierce is better than that.
No, he's not.
Oh yeah.
No, he's not.
Let's see his statistics.
Okay. I hope that you look up how many.
He has 32 receptions for 514 yards.
32 receptions, and how many games did he play?
He averaged.
Look at how many games he played.
Played every game. He almost had 2 or 3 receptions every game. He averaged 2 receptions a game.
Can you look up how many snaps he had per game?
How do you see that?
I don't know, but look, if you can, look it up. How many snaps he played? He was just look up snap percentage Alec Pierce. I don't think if you type in snap percentage,
95% of the snaps. Averaging a total of 26 yards per game.
95% snap share, and he had 32 catches?
Yeah, but he only got the ball. It was 32. He only had 65 targets.
That's why I'm saying he's a cardio king. He played 95% of the snaps, and he had 32 catches all year.
Yeah, but I don't think
that's 2 catches per game.
I think he's fine.
He played 95% of the snaps, and he had 2 catches a game.
Who was?
Duh. 2 catches? That's like 2 shots in each quarter.
Yeah.
You could do that playing an NFL game.
Hell no, I couldn't do that. Too much cardio.
I think Alec Pierce got you beat in the cardio.
Is KJ Osborne bad, Chris? Is KJ Osborne bad? If we're starting to compare apples to apples, is KJ Osborne bad?
This is completely different because if you look up his snap percentage, it's going to be way lower than 95%.
But he only had 540 yards.
I'm looking at snap percentage and receptions. Alec Pierce had 95% snap share, and he had 32 catches all year. You're saying that they don't need to take a wide receiver because
76.9, 77.
Exactly. That's 20% less.
No, I don't think they need to take a wide receiver. I don't think you're gonna. I think you try to trade this if you're not gonna get one of the elite guys.
This is way too much Colts talk.
Yeah. I think you go defensive.
Gotta be defense. Jaguars. 17, 48, 96, 114, 116. I wonder who has the elusive 115 pick. They got 8 picks total.
with their first one, 17. I think
They probably got to go D.
if you can get a defensive corner, if that Iowa kid's there, that DeJean or whatever his name
What's
is.
his first name?
Cooper or Carper.
Cooper.
Cooper.
DeJean.
I think either him or you got to go cornerback and just solidify that spot. Because defensively, who was their lineman that was actually pretty good? I don't remember his name, but
No idea.
they were actually decent. And I think offensively,
Josh Allen.
but I think offensively you're
D-line?
fine. He was linebacker, I think Josh Allen was.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Yeah. But I think defensively, if you can get a shutdown corner and a good corner, you set yourself up for sure. Because offensively, you're fine.
Yeah. Offense should be fine for sure. Titans, 7 pick. We're back to the top 10. 38, 106, 146, 182.
Offensive line, Titans. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. They're gonna pick the guy from Creighton.
Creighton?
Joe Alt.
Joe Alt.
Or no, he didn't go to Creighton. He's from Minnesota though.
The Notre Dame kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to go offensive line. When you look at, obviously you got your running back. You got Tony Pollard. Quarterback, you have a few choices, but most likely Will Levis.
Totino Grace.
DeAndre Hopkins there.
Totino Grace in
6.
Minnesota.
So yeah, I think for
What
Tennessee
city is Totino Grace in?
Maple Grove.
Nope.
Osseo.
Nope.
What? Isn't it Totino Grace Maple Grove?
Nope.
I have no idea then.
You know where Abby's from?
No.
Abby went to Totino Grace.
Isn't Totino Grace a private school?
It is.
So you don't have to live in the city. Anyone could go there,
No,
right?
but I'm saying, where is Totino Grace?
Matamidi.
Nope. Getting closer though.
Oh, I don't even know where Matamidi is.
It's in Fridley.
Fridley?
Yeah, Totino Grace.
I would say Maple Grove. Is that by Maple Grove?
Maple Grove is northwest of the cities. Fridley is where Top Golf is,
Oh, Brooklyn Park?
just to the east of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Totino Grace, huh?
Yeah. So it's we like this area,
So Roseville?
kind of like in this.
Arden Hills?
Maybe a little more north.
Shoreview? Mounds? Fridley?
Fridley, right there. Brooklyn Park.
Oh, so even more east
it's
than
in
that.
there.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's Totino Grace? I always thought Totino Grace was Maple Grove.
No.
Huh.
But yeah, bringing it to the Titans. Last division, we've made it. The Chiefs, 32 pick. 32, 64, 95, 131, 159. 7 picks overall. It seems like the common occurrence between the top teams in the league. The Ravens, the 49ers, the Chiefs. It's about every 30 picks. Which
They
means
never trade
they're
picks,
not
never
trading
do
their picks. Yep.
Yeah, I think they can kind of do anything here. I think the talk, what's been very interesting is that Georgia kid, Lad McConkey.
Really?
Yeah, if they want to bolster the offense. Get a
Really?
little
He's
slot
the
receiver.
guy?
Well, is Rashee Rice coming back? Or is he going to be gone?
Dude, I don't know.
So you either do that or you just bolster Patrick Mahomes' offensive line again. And I feel like you could probably say the same thing every year with them is like, just keep bolstering the offensive line.
Probably, yeah.
The difference with them
Never
is they're
bad.
hitting on these receivers. And
Random
the
receivers.
difference is, too, at the same time, like, these receivers aren't big names. They're good.
Right.
So,
Whoever's scouting their receivers
yeah, pretty good. Deserves a raise.
for the on-field stuff.
Yeah, well, most
All
people
right, Broncos, 12, 76, 121, 136, 145. They just got a new quarterback.
Say that again?
They just got a new quarterback.
Browns?
Broncos,
Who'd they get?
Zach Wilson.
What an upgrade. What an upgrade.
I mean, he'll be in the quarterback room.
They already have him behind Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham?
Dog, it's
Give Zach Wilson a
Zach
chance.
Wilson.
Oh my God, dude! You have to give. I think Zach Wilson is better than Jarrett.
They
Stidham.
might pick Bo Nix. I feel like Bo Nix would be a good Denver Bronco.
Kind of seems like the nitty gritty
Yeah.
Denver Bronco.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a good pickup. I don't know where they would have to draft him.
I think the Denver
probably
Broncos
have
also
to
have a
move
lot
up.
of holes to fill. You're losing Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
So you potentially could go that way. Defensively, you probably need to get better. I mean, I always thought Denver Broncos were always going to be decent at defense, and they were one of the worst defenses in the league. Granted, giving up 70 points in one game doesn't help.
Yeah, that's the 1 week that really killed them, because otherwise they did have a stretch where they were pretty good.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they weren't terrible at defense.
Yeah.
They started to figure it out. They started the year so bad, so bad, and then they figured it out, and they were actually a fairly good defense the second half of the year.
That's an outlier. But I think at the same time, I think
that
if
Byron
you're them...
Browning guys.
Baron
Browning, he's a
good.
dog.
Well, Pat Surtain is a beast, too.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the rest of them, I just don't.
They're names that you aren't like, oh my gosh, that guy's...
So I think wide receiver probably is a decent bet to replace Jerry Jeudy, who probably was not as good as people thought. But
yeah, they got to find some talent there.
Yeah.
Raiders, 13.
The Raiders.
44, 77, 112, 148.
The Raiders.
What do they need?
Oh, God.
Well,
they don't have a running back.
Who's their quarterback?
Well, it was Aiden O'Connell. That's what it was last year.
Oh, God.
He actually didn't play terrible.
Is he their quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's their quarterback to start the year. I don't think they picked up anybody.
Oh, they picked up Gardner Minshew.
So they have a battle between those two. So then it becomes, do they draft a guy? You got to give Devontae Adams somebody. Right?
Somebody.
I mean, you have Devontae
Gardner
Adams.
Minshew is probably not terrible for him.
No, and I actually think last year Aiden O'Connell actually played decent. Not going to go out and win you a lot of games, but decent. But I think both of those quarterbacks are
decent.
Yeah, but both of those quarterbacks are probably better stuck in
Minshew's
backup.
I think Minshew is a serviceable guy. He's similar to Sam Darnold. Obviously, the Vikings fans
AKA a backup.
Well, they're hoping that we don't have to throw him out there for the whole season, but like you could do worse.
100%, but he's the backup.
If he's your backup, you feel like you have the best 1-2 combination.
Yeah, you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
They have a good coach. They signed that guy. They signed the coach. Obviously, losing Josh Jacobs, so now...
I think it shows growth because they had Antonio Pierce as their interim guy.
Yep.
Right? And they re-signed him, whereas they used to have, the other year, they had Rich Bisaccia step in, and they didn't re-sign him. Yeah. So I think they're starting to figure it out. It's nice to see that they made that change.
Well, I think
actually signed this guy.
Yeah, I think with the new signing, I think a lot of the players kind of stood up for him and were like, "We want to play for this guy because it's actually great."
I agree. That is good.
So
we love that.
So there you go.
Last team, Chargers. They have the 5 pick. We're back to the top 10. 37, 69, 105, 110.
And they have a lot to fill. I don't even know
for sure.
Who's their wide receiver?
Well, they have Mike Williams.
Gone. He's gone.
He is?
Yeah, didn't he go somewhere? Pretty sure he's
gone.
No,
I thought he re-signed. He restructured his contract.
No, dog, he gone. Their number 1 is Josh Palmer.
Really?
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh.
So I think you probably...
Where did he go?
Mike Williams is on the New York Jets.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Playing with Aaron.
Good call. Okay. So they probably need a wide receiver.
I think wide receiver is probably your best bet here. I think
you gotta have.
You don't have a running back.
When you got Justin Herbert, you gotta throw it. No, they do. They have Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, they just took the whole Ravens.
Correct. But they have the Ravens offense coordinator.
Yeah, but I think wide receiver you have to go here. Quentin Johnson.
You got to get Justin Herbert more weapons on the outside.
Yeah, you got to give him somebody. I mean, your defense is also. What's crazy is when you look at this defense by names, their defense should be decent.
They're not because they get hurt every year.
They get hurt every year, and they're just not good. So I think offensively, you have to pick one of those elite wide receivers and just let Justin Herbert.
I mean, low key, depending on the receiver that they get, if they get like Malik Neighbors, he could be decent.
Be very good
this first year.
He
could be balling.
If they pick a wide receiver, which they should with that pick, that wide receiver instantly becomes their number 1.
Yeah.
If they're in the top 5, because you're either doing Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors.
Right. Yeah.
They instantly become that number 1.
That's true.
They have 4 wide receivers on the depth chart.
Yeah.
And one is Simi Fahuku.
And none of them are any good.
I think Quentin Johnson could be okay, but I think you have to just keep bolstering.
Okay.
I think this next year for the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh's first year. Granted, here's the reality of Jim Harbaugh: he's a ground and pound
it'll
guy.
look like the Michigan offense, which stinks.
It'll just be ground and pound. Yeah. Which coming from, where's what's his name?
Who?
Offensive coordinator for them.
What?
Wasn't the offensive coordinator? Wasn't it the old Dallas guy?
No, the Ravens.
Ravens guy came over. So where did the Dallas guy go? Or where did the Chargers guy go? What's his name? Why can't I think of his name? I can picture his face. He was a lefty quarterback. You know who I'm talking about?
I can't remember.
Kellen Moore. Right?
Yeah.
Kellen Moore.
I don't know where he's at.
Former. Who was the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles.
He is right now?
Apparently, yeah. That's crazy.
That's a big change.
That is a big change. But I don't know. I think he was supposed to be like the next guy, which is an interesting thing because on the Chargers, he just threw the ball all the time. They threw the ball every play.
Not anymore.
Well, could be a decent sleeper pick in fantasy, picking whoever these. Hopefully, they pick a wide receiver.
Hopefully.
Get some value. So there it is.
We made it through the
Bang,
whole
bang.
draft.
There it is. Whole first draft. Or whole
Literally
draft.
the whole draft.
Yeah, there it was. We'll see how accurate we are.
We didn't talk about 7th rounders. I'm sorry.
No, give them up. Move up in the draft. Give them up.
Seriously.
No one needs them.
They're just throwaway picks.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
All right, y'all. Enjoy the draft. Talk to you later.
Peace.